live. We're live.
Oh,
What's
okay.
today's date? Make sure I can get our channel here.
So I'm live right now?
We are live.
We are live.
March 16th, 2019. We are live.
We are live.
To...
Oops. I guess we're live. I don't hear the microphone.
We plugged in?
Yeah.
You hear it?
No. No. Hey.
Hey, it's just me. Hello, check 1 2.
Nothing.
Nothing. What about if you unplug this?
What? Oh no. I can't tell now, but.
Here, let me go live on this. It's still kind of.
Can you?
How do you turn this volume on?
On?
Or how do I get?
Down at the bottom of the screen,
Right,
the toolbar at the bottom of the screen.
HDMI was plugged.
Oh. That jack, Carol, by the camera, on the side of the top of the camera, can you push the jack and see if it goes in any further?
He just did. No.
That's it? Okay.
It's working.
It's working?
Yeah, it's working. It might not play back while it's recording.
I was just wanting to know if the mic was getting anything.
Let me listen up.
Hold on. Yeah, bang on it a little bit. Checking that this is the mic. Checking that the phone is the mic. Checking that this is the mic. Checking that the phone is the mic. Nope. Yeah, see, there we go. It's the red mic. It's officially
good. The red mic's working.
It's officially
Great.
live. We're
Yay!
good. We've done it.
We're gonna have to
All right.
edit this.
Oh, we'll figure it out eventually.
Yeah.
We're not technically advanced enough to do the. That's okay.
Oh, the hat's nothing, but look, you're not. Well, they are. Okay.
Yeah, it's not bad.
All right.
I'm gonna hear myself talking. It's gonna throw me off. It's we're not advanced enough to do the standbys and everything. So everybody, thank you for your patience while we try to figure out the debuggery.
Technical aspects of vlogging.
Mm-mm.
We found out we're vlogging, not podcasting. Apparently, podcasting is radio, and
We're vloggers.
right? We're vloggy.
Welcome to our vlog.
Alright. You just get this shared and start getting the.
What's that delay? Is that DHS or something?
It's just
What?
the broadband delay.
Oh.
From its bouncing around or something like that. It's not bad. It's pretty good. Red mic tone. Alright, we're live and shared. Let me turn the volume down on this time. Alright. I get to see us from that screen. That'll be our.
That's good. That's what I couldn't figure out how to do myself.
This
I guess
thing?
I should have tried not doing the mirror projection from one screen to the next, but just.
Yeah, this is good.
Right.
And then now we have the news.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah, I don't know what you want to talk about today. There's all kinds of stuff here, but they're still talking about the college admission scandal,
Mm-hmm.
which, apparently this had to have been going on for decades, and they only found, this one investigation busted 33 people. It's not nothing. It's $25 million worth of bribes. But,
Yeah.
and I don't know why. I don't really understand why the schools themselves are not going to be held accountable. But the FBI did say yesterday that they're still investigating, and that this is an open investigation.
Well, the large issue with the whole thing is now you have people that if they didn't really earn their way into a position, so to speak, if they're getting these good degrees in whatever field, that's, it's like hiring like a third world doctor to, to work at your hospital up here. It's really,
or false credentials.
Yeah, there you go.
Well, when the FBI was asked yesterday or the day before about it in press conference, they asked if the press asked if the FBI was going to arrest the students or hold the students accountable in some fashion or another. Have them it's up to the schools, I guess, if they want to expel people that were admitted under false pretenses, but with with the tuition in college, some of these Ivy League colleges costing hundreds of thousands of dollars, it's up to the school, I guess, whether they want to like act like the kids had nothing to do with it, and
Yeah,
you know, and let
that's a
them
good point.
slide. Because if you went in there and you said you were, you know, a soccer player or something, and it turns out you don't know how to kick a ball,
Yeah.
that's what's going on. And then the other students with the false credentials, you know, maybe they didn't have straight A's, maybe they were F
Mhm.
students that never bothered to show up.
I think this goes back to
So-
older, and not that I want to get into it, but like older athletes when they didn't do well in school and they would, you know, get a slide on through, and the colleges would say, well, we want our star players on the football team. That's what, you know, brings us our money, and
Right, right.
they look the other direction on, you know, on their test scores or whatever, and those people usually get, you know, treated differently, which I guess is the big deal
Double
about it is
standard.
you know, does money make you
Mm.
are you treated differently when you have money? And I absolutely would say yeah, and people who have money are completely different from people who, you know, work for the money. So
Well, just because you have money didn't mean you didn't
no,
work
I didn't mean you
for
work
it,
for it, but you could tell when somebody's earned it and when somebody's just been
yeah.
kind of given it. You know,
Mhm.
you got a lady who's driving a brand new Lexus but doesn't know how to put gas in the car. You know, it's amazing that she can go home and eat, you know, without having complications in the process.
Yeah, yeah.
And you just see a lot of that nowadays. And I grew up in a very, you know, nice neighborhood. I grew up on the, you know, the middle class area of a nice neighborhood. So we got to see these giant houses, and we're living in, you know, a 3-bed, 3-bath or whatever. It was nice living. I'm not going to say
Well,
that
the
it
house you
wasn't.
live in, the
but-
house your parents live in now, that's I guess by New York standards of
Yeah.
the area, it's middle class, but
That's
you
a
know,
very they live in a very nice
that's
house.
like
But my
four-
dad again put in a
4 or
lot of
5
effort.
times what the average house around here costs.
Yeah.
you know,
Well, my
so-
dad did set a good example, and one of the things.
I'm not saying it's a bad thing.
No, it's just one of the. It's important to say
Mhm.
too. The way he put it is, you know, he busted his ass, so
Mhm.
that way he could
Right.
have that,
Mhm.
and that's what he did, and good for him. And he set a
Yeah.
good example for me, and I only can
Mhm.
hope that that's a conservative value that makes it down the line past this generation, which is
Well, it'll be up to you what you do with the next
With mine,
generation,
yeah.
because now you're the parents. So
now it's my fault if I mess it up. I got my whole
Right.
family on Facebook; they can judge me for that. Huh?
Yep.
and they'll hold you accountable for saying just that, like
Yep.
10, 20 years from now.
Yep, like the
Right.
the Beto O'Rourke. Let's go on to the
Oh,
Robert O'Rourke. I don't even know why we're calling him Beto. He is not Mexican, and that was a nickname given to him so that he appeals to certain demographics.
mhm.
Do we have his media article? Let's see what they said. Now, I believe he was somebody showed that he was writing as a teenager murder fantasies, child murder fantasies. I don't want to use the wrong terms there, and I don't want to dive too deep into the rabbit hole on that. But
Let's see.
kind of sounds like a socialist stream there. Let's see how they put it.
No, that's a commercial. We don't need that.
He is sorry for
Oh, here.
teen writings, so they call them teen writings.
Was that when he wrote them when he was a teenager?
I'm gonna assume so.
Wow.
Acknowledged making mistakes as a teen and as a candidate, and responding to crime. I don't know why he's getting such a grassroots movement. I think it's more of the
Well, why wouldn't they say how old he was when he was a teenager when he wrote this? Because
what I don't understand is how there's these democratic entities that almost they fake a grassroots movement is how I would say that. They fake it. How did he get an uprising in Texas? How did Ocasio-Cortez get an uprising in New York? None of these people represent us. They're not us. They don't have any like, you know, they didn't introduce themselves to us prior to them running. They were just kind of thrown at us.
they just, it's like walking into a bar and seeing somebody that has some charisma and asking them if they want to run for office. They never ran before.
Yeah, you could run. You could run for me. We'll push you. We'll
Yeah,
promote
we'll-
you. You
we'll-
just say you believe in these.
We'll put you in Congress.
You help my company out a lot. You just believe in this, push this, and boom.
Well, that's what AOC's job was
Yeah,
before
she-
she was
She's a
in
shill.
Congress.
Somebody's
She was,
paying her to do.
she was working in a bar.
Oh yeah, she's not really too.
I mean, that's her background. So, you know, that's what I meant about walking into a bar and asking somebody if they want to be in Congress,
Yeah, I don't know.
because that's what somebody did.
well,
Obviously,
now because of her,
she didn't go to the Democrat Party and say, "Hey, I'm a good bartender.
Yeah,
Run me
right,
for
no.
Congress."
somebody found
Right.
her and thought she would be a great candidate. But now you have all these.
Is that the American dream, to be like hanging out in a bar and somebody's going to send you to Washington?
Yeah, right. I guess it is nowadays.
That's it.
Hmm.
Let's see. I guess that was that. Do you want to talk some more about his writings? I don't even know
I don't
much
even really
about
care
it.
about the guy. I just can't believe that people are supporting him running for president. I mean, the guy is. That was the point that we were on before. What qualifies you to what qualifies anybody to be president? I mean, the guy's fairly young. There's no way he has half the knowledge anybody who's respectively like well earned in society. There's no way he has any of the credentials needed to actually run for president. I doubt the guy actually understands the system as
Well,
fluently as he would want to
like
claim.
that. Going back to the bar thing, there's there's those old sayings about, if you pick up your future wife in a bar,
Mm.
that's there's nothing wrong with being in a bar except that, if I don't know.
I feel like we're
It-
treading on ice here. We don't want to offend the wrong people. If you
It's
pick
like
up your wife in
yeah.
a bar, maybe she's bar
Well-
material, not wife material.
Well, I'm not
but
saying anything wrong
Nothing
with that.
wrong with that.
But,
There's nothing wrong with
um,
that. Yeah.
Okay, so if you go to the beach and you pick
Mhm.
up your future wife on the beach, does that then she's probably a beach bunny. She probably likes hanging out at the beach, right?
Mm.
So, the same thing would go to other aspects of your life, you know.
Mhm.
So if you want somebody in Congress that's got a background of hanging out on the beach, they're probably going to do great things for people with beaches. But if they never created a job in their entire lives, then
Mhm.
how are they going to help the country to become more employed?
Yeah.
I think that's the.
I don't think Beto O'Rourke has no qualifications to do that. I don't think and I'm not a huge fan of Ted Cruz, but I like the guy. I do like the guy. I like the points he makes. I think he's very clever, and I think he looks good with a beard. He should keep it. But I don't understand how who has the money to really push these Democratic candidates. It almost seems like a never-ending amount of money to support these people that, the average person looks at them and just, you're like,
Well, that's the part about the power, the political power that
Yeah.
that some people don't really believe exists. um, the
I don't get how they're so off though too. Like how they can't see. Theoretically, if we had that kind of money and we wanted to pay somebody much more qualified than us to speak on behalf of our concerns, I'm sure it would go a great way. We would tell that person is not competent to be speaking in public, and we would say, okay, enough of you. Would put somebody, like we could figure that out in the process. I don't know how they just found these people though and ran with them, and it just feels like with role models in general. Look at Nickelodeon Kids Choice Awards. They got DJ Khaled or whatever. Have we run out of role models? For the love of God, have we run out of all the what it means to be a good person? The guy running for president, the young kid now, Beto, he's writing about murder fantasies as a kid, and that's still like what? Are we really that close to having someone like that as president? Oh, please no. One of the reasons we support Trump, and it was.
Well, he does for 40 years before he was president. He was all over the world.
Yeah, he was doing the real estate markets.
Everybody in the world
Everybody
knew and admired,
yeah,
wanted to be Trump,
yeah.
and not because of the money. I think it was because of the work ethic and the ability to create tens of thousands.
He made
of
an
jobs
empire. He made a great name
improved
for
the
himself.
lives of millions of
I'm
people.
still happy to see the Trump name when I drive in New York or something, and
Mhm.
it's all over the world too. But I'm very happy to see the name, and I feel like it's a shame when my daughter, when I would show her pictures of Trump, you look on Google and it's all these negative pictures. Is it really that hard to change the internet a little bit? I mean, they do it in their favor. Can we do it in our favor and just put the guy in front of some flags or something, make him look patriotic, so that when we show our kids this, we don't have to necessarily throw them in the, I want to say storm, but I don't want to curse, so I'm trying to catch myself and everything. But is this going to be their battle to be had? I mean, I hope that when we're older that they recognize this whole Trump thing, the Russia collusion, that was I don't know the word to call that. That would be like fraud. It would be a fraudulent investigation, and I believe the reason for it was a lie that they could easily keep running because again they have the edge of being able to just lie to the media.
They're always and when they control the culture, the celebrity and the culture and the movies and the all that kind of stuff. They like where a lot of people think that the lives of professional sports players or lives of professional actors and actresses is more important to them than what's going on under their own nose in their own neighborhood and with their families, with the students, with the whatever. the reality of their own life. It's great that there's sports people out there that you can admire and want to be like, but uh,
again, with the
they,
sports people though,
the,
we have Colin Kaepernick. What
you,
other role
you
models
never.
do we have? That's not a role model by any
Well,
means, but we're running
I mean,
short on
people
decent
that are
people
professional, people that are professionals out there that are making a living and they're in the public eye. They, the likelihood that you're going to end up being like that is like
Zero.
zero.
Yeah.
There's no chance really. You can want to be like that, but um, the chances are that your life is going to be rather humdrum and run of the mill and all that other kind of stuff.
That's what I would expect.
And your responsibilities in life are what you make them. So is it important to admire all these people that you have no chance of being like, or just say, well, they're good people, or for whatever they're doing, they're great ball players or great actors or whatever, and then go back to your life. But if I'm not one of those people, one of those world-renowned actors or actresses or whatever, does that really impact my life? I mean,
and then
it shouldn't,
if you are an actor and actress, why would you have a louder political opinion than somebody who isn't? And that's another thing, like when you get into courts, if I'm going to respect the judge and their profession, I think if I'm, say, for an example, which I am, an expert on paints, if I'm going to make the argument for like those ghost marked police cars, the legal definition is that they're unmarked. Legally, a marking is clearly visible from all angles. I can go through this back and forth. It's.
Well, why does it have to be clear if it's a marking?
Well, it has a marking is a clear marking. It's either clearly marked or it's not marked. That's just the way that the definition of the word marking is.
Okay.
And why would my professionalism be dismissed in court if I'm to respect their professionalism? I feel like we have a very one-sided system. I feel like that's something that does need to be addressed, and then with addressing that, we could probably address racial inequality and inequities and stuff, and we can go up that direction. But I would say that we should have people that are qualified for things need to be given more respect for certain things, and people who aren't qualified for things don't deserve respect for certain things. If you're a celebrity or if you're Cardi B, I don't think you should be used on the Democratic platform. I don't think you even know what the word Democratic means. The people that watch her show, my wife watches Love and Hip Hop. I know a lot of people that watch Love and Hip Hop, and Miami, Atlanta, New York, and such. And nothing wrong with watching that TV, but it shouldn't be getting political. If you're going to keep that kind of entertainment to to your TV, keep that kind of entertainment. It's like football. Politics has no place in football. That should have been the big deal with that, because that's something where people of all walks of life come together, put aside their differences, and they're sports fans. And I'm not a sports fan, but I can respect that. I can understand that. And again, we're just tearing down everything that the foundations of what it means to be an American, and that's really what that grinds me a little bit. It's just it's like, and it's the people. It's just people. It's people in general. It's like, what's wrong with people nowadays? Why don't we have good role models? And then we look at people now, they're looking at Elvis Presley. He married a 14-year-old. His wife was 14 when he was, 28 or whatever it was. And or if it was a bigger gap than that, I don't know.
Was that Tennessee law?
I'm not sure. Maybe. Yeah. Well, he's from Tupelo, Mississippi.
Oh,
so it's got to be somewhere down there.
South,
Maybe in Arkansas.
Could have been something like that.
It's Elvis wasn't a bad guy. It's not like he was committing crimes. It's not like but it's all speculation. R. Kelly, I think he's innocent. I don't think that they should be really the guy. I like music. I enjoy music. I think I like R. Kelly's music enough to say that he doesn't deserve half the crap that everybody's throwing him through. Yeah, I don't think it's anything wrong for a guy to have desires or whatever. I think it's a little better than Beto O'Rourke having fantasies about murdering children. I think if we're going to start judging people on some kind of scale, I would put Beto below R. Kelly. I think that'd be pretty cool. We can make a scale on the wall back here and we just start judging people based on, what they've done, because that's kind of what we've come to, in society
today. How
do
we even get on the subject of the relevance or irrelevance of celebrities' lives?
Well, we're talking about, if somebody's pertinent enough to have a political opinion. But see, it ties right in and we get sucked right into it. We didn't even pay attention to that. How quick we affiliate our celebrity. It's like Trump is president. He was a celebrity. Arnold Schwarzenegger, the government, he was a celebrity.
Well,
they didn't start off like that. And, I I'm not 100% with Arnold Schwarzenegger's policies, but I like the guy. He's a good role model. That's something we need. And I've seen him do his debates on Twitter and defend like the Special Olympics, and I applaud him for that. I think he did a great job with his quick little remarks. Granted that was a real post that I saw of Arnold Schwarzenegger commenting back to somebody. It's out there. I'm sure people have seen it, and usually when those things go viral or just make their rounds, I'll come around and I'll see them, and it's kind of like I know that everybody else has already seen them. I don't know if that makes sense to you, but by the time I get it, I'm usually like, the third in line, and then the 10th in line comes back to me.
Most of the people you're talking about, I don't even know who they are. I know Arnold, but
Mm-hmm. Well, R. Kelly's the musician. Yeah, he's a musician. He was famous for he peed on a underage girl in a video, a sex tape. But the guy was R. Kelly, and his argument, parents were literally willing to give their kids to R. Kelly. But it's a gray area that I don't want to get in, because I know people would do that.
Like creepy Uncle Joe.
Yeah, it's just a gray area. But you know what?
Well, I don't know. I wouldn't call it a gray area. To me, it's kind of.
Well, it's black and white. He did wrongs, but takes two to tango. There needs to be.
Well, it depends who is doing the act too. And in the case of creepy Uncle Joe, those are like 10-year-old kids. So
yeah, and he's touched. Yeah. Well, with the R. Kelly thing, you would have to literally ask questions like, did the girl want to get peed on? Did he want to pee on the girl? Were they both down for it? Is this something that they both share? But why would you care about someone then again, he made a video about it. So maybe he wants the world to know what goes on in the bedroom.
Is this the girl, you're talking about the consensual sex act? The women are of age. They're not underage.
These were underage, but the parents were bringing them to the concerts and apparently paying money.
That doesn't make it any less illegal.
I'm not saying it's not. No, it's what he did was, but I think it went to the media attention, and he got his, if he didn't get publicly shamed for that, then the argument that he did get publicly shamed for that would be that in today's arguments, people are saying, oh, well, he peed on an underage girl, so of course he's guilty. That, I would say, would be that he got punished at one point in time, because we all now have a predisposition against him. But it's not right to use that case against his current case.
If he did that act in front of hundreds of people live and in public, then you don't need a judge and a jury to tell you whether he's really did it or not.
Yeah,
whether
not
he's
denying
guilty
that he
or
did
not.
it, but
And if he's guilty of a disgusting sexual crime.
We could both agree that's not
it's
presidential material. We could all agree on that one. That's absolutely
not in this country. Anyway.
Yeah, hell yeah. That's definitely check them off the list. And then we get people who thinks they're presidential material. We have Kamala Harris, who thinks she's presidential material.
Well, she's campaigning as though she's a black person, which I would think that black people would consider that to be kind of insulting.
And from what I've heard from
it'd be like me sitting out on the beach all day long, and all of a sudden I go from being not black to being black or dark or person of color.
She prosecuted people of color. From what I heard from the black community, she was the one in the courtroom.
That has nothing to do with whether she's black or not.
No, but it shows whether or not, whether she cares about the things the black community cares about. And that's a point that I'm not black, but I know a lot about. I'm from New York. There's no racism where I'm from. It's a part of the damn culture. You watch Love and Hip Hop, you know who these people are. If you know you don't know who Remy and Papoose are. I know who Remy and Papoose are.
I don't know.
Exactly. There we go. And Kamala Harris is the one. She's causing the problem. I think when it comes to crack and heroin. When crack hit the black communities, they arrested people.
You might not want to be banging.
Oh, yeah, I don't want to be banging on the mic. When crack hit black communities, they were arresting everybody. They were doing everything. They had all these drug raids. They'd be getting people no-knock raids while they're sleeping. I'm pretty sure if we look into it, all these no-knock raid laws probably developed around the same time as these drug growings in the 80s and 90s, maybe even the 70s. I'm not 100% sure. I never really looked into that. But I wouldn't be surprised if there was correlation there. And then now we have heroin that gets in the white communities, and now we send them to rehab, and now it's a disease. And it says, well, why, if it was a disease now, why wasn't it a disease when it affected the black community? And that's something that I don't believe we should draw light on heroin. I think we should be sending people to jail and let them withdraw in the cell, and that's how they'll get better. No sympathy with that stuff. Absolutely zero sympathy for that kind of addiction. And
well, they're not going to get treated if they're sitting in jail, are they?
No, but they got to get off the stuff. They got to reevaluate their life. I think you got to know what rock bottom is to know not to be there. You got to know what it is. It has to be there. A bad example of it. But when you get, these communities now, you got Kamala Harris probably back in the day making, she was the one who would have been like, oh yeah, lock them up, who cares, and she's
like
the
Hillary Clinton calling black people predators or something.
yeah, it's like the same thing. Like she has that same predisposition against actual ghetto communities. Like she is not for actually black people. I think that is more black than actually being the skin color black. I think that's the heart of the community is that's what matters. Like we respect our community. They got they have their communities. We all have our own.
Yeah, I heard Cory Booker a few weeks ago talking to the press about.
Yeah.
They asked him about the president was saying that Cory Booker was partially responsible for like ruining Newark, and Booker's defense of that is that Newark was like that before, during, and after he was there, and that it hasn't really changed.
Yeah, it's
and
still
I thought,
well,
how could that be a good thing to
Cory Booker, look at your
that?
resume. It's Newark, New Jersey.
Well, if the place hasn't gotten better after you were in office, before, during, and whatever, then I don't know. I don't know why you think that you're going to be good for the country, or everybody hoped that, and everybody hoped that getting the first black president into office was going to help the black community, but it didn't. It didn't reduce the welfare.
When I was in high school, I think it was.
It didn't reduce crime. It didn't reduce anything. It didn't help. I don't know how it helped the black community.
I was in high school when Obama
other than to give
running.
them a role model, but if crime doesn't go down, and if the disproportionate number of black people that are in jails and getting aborted and all the other horrible things, if those numbers are not being reduced.
Yeah.
And the black population doesn't go up in numbers, in percentage of the whole population in this country in the last 50 years, then what's gotten better,
Nothing. Yeah.
I don't really get it.
When I was in high school, Obama was running for president, and the amount of times people would come up to me and be like, oh, we need change, Nick, we need change. Why are you not? And I was like, and I didn't want to hear it. And it was usually, kids who were Puerto Rican or kids who wore do-rags. That group of kids were the ones telling me, oh, we want change, we want that. So clearly your family's in a bad position. So, all right, well, let's make it better. That wasn't the way. It's like the Democratic Party knows how to.
They expected somebody else to make their lives better instead of them.
Well, the Democratic Party seems to have mastered the art of getting youths on board with whatever they're selling. They do it effortlessly, and it's because they know that youths don't last more. Like that youthful generation, when you're like between 1 and 30 years old,
like Bernie Sanders,
you'll have
supporters.
Yeah, you're young,
tens of millions of them.
You have a lot of friends, but in that time span, usually most of the people I know died, in their 20s and 30s, most of them. So I would assume that, I don't know if that's something that I can scale up and say, yeah, that the population shrinks as you get older. Your population, so to speak. New people are born every day, but
You want to send the mascot over here?
Hannah the dog.
Come here, kid.
Hey.
All right. Good girl. Just don't knock the camera over.
But, let's see, in terms of... I got completely sidetracked there.
That's okay.
That's all right. We'll take a coffee break for you. You can go get your cup of coffee.
I have coffee here.
No, the poor people watching us, they probably are heads throbbing from hearing me speak for all of a minute. But, well... I don't think that Kamala, even Cory Booker, I think that when people voted though for Obama and everything, and they got that, it was kind of evident that what Obama was very similar to what Bernie Sanders was, or what Beto O'Rourke was. It's just kind of this like democratic, like young and hip and radical politician. That if there's anything I think kids should take from anything, it's that kids don't know shit about politics. And that's just something we should all accept, even myself. I don't know everything there is to know. I'm very young. I still have a lot to learn. I would not want to sit here and tell you that I'm presidential material because I simply just don't know. And that's just an ignorant thing to say, to be young and it's just greed. It's just greed. You want to be the first, whatever. Like Hillary Clinton wants to be the first female. Barack Obama wants to be the first black. It's not about being, it's just about who's qualified. We don't need to have the first... rainbow-colored president just because they appeared out of the, the waterfalls. We need somebody who's actually qualified to run the country, and we don't even look at qualifications anymore.
To me, qualifications are accomplishments.
Yeah.
if
However-
if somebody has a record of getting all the things or a lot of the things done that we would like to see in a president or in a government,
And
federal government, then that makes them qualified as far as I'm concerned.
I would say there's a difference
So-
between experience and accomplishments. Experience is the name we give the accumulation of our life's failures. Thank you, Carol. And
Well, experience is just time. Accomplishments are
well, your
the
experience
things
is what you
gotten
learn from
done.
making mistakes. You make a mistake, you learn from it. That's experience.
Well,
An
experience.
accomplishment is fixing something using your experience.
Well, experience is the time going by.
Yeah.
And what you did during that time.
But if you
It doesn't mean you got anything or you didn't
Well, that's what
get
I'm saying. If
anything
you worked
done.
in a desk job for 30 years, you might not have changed anything in that 30 years. Are we still live?
I don't know. We're buffering, so I'm not sure what that is. You want me to look? It could be the feed on the laptop.
It's not showing. Battery 11%.
We got 100 views. We said the word Trump. They shut us down. They're on to us. No, we're still good.
Battery's at 11%.
The battery's
so
down
it's
to
not-
11?
Yeah.
Oh, well, it looks like we're still running.
It's not showing anything other than
No, we're
saying
still-
that
we're still
it's-
live.
The battery is.
Mm-hmm.
We're still good.
Hey, do you want to? We can turn that off for a little while and then come back to it. Take a break
Yeah, we'll
because
take a
we've been on for a while.
Yeah. Well, if this
Okay.
interests anybody, please comment on. We
Yeah,
have the
yeah.
YouTube thing, but
Subscribe
if I
and comment below.
have, waiting all week to do that. Comment with what you'd like us to talk about. We're trying to bring pertinent and relevant discussions to the table, and we would like to get everybody's input on certain things. And we want to tackle some of the difficult to swallow pills like black reparations. I think that is a great conversation piece. I think we should talk about stuff like that. Really, So we want to know everybody's opinions on everything. We just want to be able to present the media as it is, raw, unfiltered. Basically, we'll take articles from sites like Yahoo that really do not like conservatives, and we'll just see what is on the agenda for today. And hopefully this becomes an interesting channel. I mean, like I said, we're just trying to do a real talk channel, and if you guys enjoy it, stay tuned. We'll be doing hopefully weekly videos, and yeah,
Yeah.
that's it. All right,
We'll
guys.
see.
Thank you for tuning in.